Somewhere on May, the beginning, I was in Mazatlan one evening during the weekend. From around 7 or 8 o'clock at night, I received a call from Ray Flynn and Susie Flynn, giving me the bad news. Also state that he called her grandmother same time frame, telling us that Felicia Marie Davis had passed away, overdosed and passed away in Rocky Point, Puerto Peñasco, as he asked us to help him cremate her, to send him 30,000 pesos for her cremation. Also, I'm stating that at the beginning, why it took his heart, and I did tell him things that anybody else would tell him. I also called immediately her grandmother, Deborah Hirsch. I asked her if she know anything. She has stated that Ray Flynn and Susie Flynn had just called them recently and told her the bad news too. As she sounded worried that day, she told me that she didn't want Ray or Susie to touch her body or her belongings. She sounded worried, so I asked her, ma'am, have you called the Mexican authorities to verify it? She has stated that her company provider for cell phone won't let her go make any calls to Mexico. So I asked her if she needed my assistance, which I used my two phones, one Android and the other disposable. As I put them together, I had called, and since at the beginning I called, they didn't want to give me any information to a family member. So when I gave them her number and we all three talked at the same time, giving her the bad news too, letting us know. Half an hour later, it's kind of weird. There was a Mexican speaking good English and Spanish with the area code of Morcillo, stating that her grandmother and Ray Flynn had contracted him, and he also works as a U.S. consul agent, asking us for the same amount of 30,000 pesos to cremate her and to pay his wages, which I understand the U.S. government doesn't ask you for any money whatsoever. I felt right away it was Ray Flynn's game. And a week later, I had called this man, same number, same area code, and he spoke in Spanish now. I stated to him, are you Ray Flynn's attorney? He said, look, in Spanish, you're dying of food. You don't have nothing to eat. When the hell are you going to get 30,000 pesos? But you tell the motherfucker gringo loco that he's going to pay for it. Like, he didn't pay him what he paid him to do, to call us and try to extort us. That's why I stated it's kind of weird. But even though letting you guys know what really happened, and the audio calls recorded I do have from this so-called U.S. consul agent, Ray Flynn, 28 calls. As an attorney, when I went to Morcillo, asked me, what evidence you have, Leo? At the beginning, I have 5 calls recorded from Ray. He told me they're useful and they're evidence, so he could verify each voices, he could compare us as evidence. So he asked me if I wanted to continue. Since I didn't have Felicia's number, I was entitled to call her at Ray's house, Ray's cell phone, to verify her state of health, you know, every little detail of her. Anyways, so I continue as they recorded. Ray insists that she never damaged the car. I never asked him. There's some there when you could hear him copying to it. I try to make him the word of expression of rattling up is convincing the person. In some, he confessed. You could hear him nervous. You could hear him say, who's sir, who you're talking to?" When I was working in Mazatlan. And you will hear further call recorded. You will know and you will hear Felicia Marie Davis when Ray one evening had made her call me to tell me she didn't want to talk to me. That evening, you could hear the background. And she told me, yes, you did. You told him to tell him this. And I said, like that, babe? And she's like, well, I'll call you later. You could hear the audio speaks for themselves. As you guys could hear in the future too, whatever, While Rigo Berto Morales Garcia also jumped in the battle wagon, stating other things. So, this is my statement at the beginning, how they started somewhere in May. in 2019 when we got the bad news. At that time, I haven't been to Rocky Point 9 months later, since she knew I was in Hermosillo pursuing damages for taxi, property, and attempted strangulation. Ray tried to do on me, and I thank her for saving my life during that time. So I speculate as I did my investigations, research, and looking for my witnesses and my evidence. As further things occurred with Rigoberto Morales Garcia. As Ray asked for 30,000 pesos to cremate her, I called, checked out other places' funerals. Santa Cecilia, the lady there, Maria, has stated me that Ray went over there insisting for a death certificate. As he pushed them, to a certain degree, the lady there told me that they they gave him one, but I wanted to confirm how many doctors or who was the one that did the autopsy. I got three different doctor statements: doctor of the Red Cross, another doctor from another morgue, and a doctor from there from Santa Cecilia Funerals. As there, I continue when I got back to Rocky Point on December 19th to follow up and do more, add more charges array. As I went to visit her old dentist, Dr. Angelas Acuna from Rocky Point Smiles, her and her staff greeted me. We talked about the issue. She told me that Ray Flynn went over and gave them the bad news too. As they fed me, we cried, we talked about the issue, how happy she was with her new teeth. And I had mentioned to the doctor, she wanted me to see two pictures of her with her new teeth. As there, the doctors, I talked to her staff. They said they were willing to help me testify against Ray Flynn. From there, the, the attorney, my district attorney, and my public defender had told me that the U.S. consul 2 days prior, on the 17th, went to look for her, me, Ray Flynn, and his attorney, because they want to get to the bottom of who used their name to try to extort me and her grandmother, as knowing that we're victims of Ray Flynn's doing his attorney. As further down, the U.S. consul has hacked my Gmail and got my email, my text messages, and my call recordings. As like I said, I had nothing to hide. This third time, I'm going back to Rocky Point, but first I had to see the U.S. consul in Nogales as they asked me to appear before I go to Rocky Point. As further down, when I was in Mexicali looking for Felicia, looking every place from her, all the way to Guadalajara, Vallarta. But in Mexicali, I had got a call from Rigoberto Morales Garcia, asking me for 1,000 pesos so he could let me talk to her. As further, he said his mind games, sending me text messages that she was pregnant, making it sound like it's him, and saying that she was going to have a baby. Started talking that, sending messages that he's glad that she's dead, that he's glad that the old man we took care of, Mono, that he's dead. All these other text messages he sent, they're all his, and I have replied them and post them on Facebook. His own words, his own messages, so he could see what he has done and people will know what he has done. So he knows the truth with the new extortion. Like I told him, I'm a man of my word. I'm not playing around. This is a matter of life or death situation. So this is one of my statements. Thank you. This is Leonardo Mendez Cardenas. Case number 18777. Thank you.